Miqdaad Versi, Assistant Secretary General of the Muslim Council of Britain. Have you been frozen out by the government as an organisation?
I think that Muslim organisations across the UK, including the Muslim Council of Britain, have not really been engaged with by this government. In spite of us trying, in spite of us providing attempts to solve the problem of terrorism, unfortunately we haven't been engaged with at all.
Right. Do you think that's because the government has felt that perhaps some extremist groups and some extremist preachers haven't been confronted enough by organisations like you and by the Muslim community at large?
If we want to confront extremism and terrorism within any community, the first thing that needs to happen is to engage with a broad spectrum of those communities in order to understand what's going on. And the Muslim Council of Britain is the largest umbrella body in the UK, with 500 different affiliates.
So you'd say you were very representative of the Muslim community?
We are a representative of the Muslim community, but there are many others as well. We can't say that we're the only one, but we're the largest of its kind. And it's unusual that the government has chosen not to work with broad mainstream Muslim groups, but instead has chosen to work with those that say yes to what it wants to say here.
The government and David Cameron have made much of wanting to engage with people and with groups who uphold British values, rightly or wrongly. So would you not blame the government for not wanting to engage with the Muslim Council of Britain, who refused to attend Holocaust Memorial Day and have described homosexuality as unacceptable, as a group that doesn't uphold the same sort of British values that the Prime Minister believes in?
I mean, we have to be very careful about how we use these terms. I mean, the Education Secretary voted against same-sex marriage just a few years ago. And we are in a situation where there seems to be different targets put for different communities. The Muslim Council of Britain does attend Holocaust Memorial Day. There were different questions behind the scenes about how that should reflect a broader range of genocides, but that's not the point. Muslim Council of Britain does do these things, as do Muslim communities across the UK. And I think if we want to confront terrorism, we should do so by engaging those across civil society that can help.
I mean, Andrew Rossendale, surely it's counterproductive not to be fully engaged with an organisation like the Muslim Council of Britain.
Well, I agree with what you just said, actually. We should engage with everyone across civil society. You can't solve problems as deep as this without engaging with everyone. However, there is a strong feeling that we in this country have a responsibility to uphold British values. And that's also got to be something that...
What in your mind specify and sort of constitutes British values?
Well, tolerance, for a start. Respect for people of all religions and of all backgrounds, and respect for our national traditions. Christian faith is the established faith of this country, and our laws and our traditions are based on that. All religions and denominations are equal under the law in this country, and rightly so. But there's a feeling that there are some sections of the Muslim community that are not standing strongly enough against some of the extremists that we've seen on our streets.
So was it right to cut ties, though, for the government with the Muslim Council of Britain?
It's not my decision to have done that.
Do you think it was wrong?
I personally am bemused by why that should happen. I think that there needs to be a dialogue with everybody.
This fear of climate that people are worried about being generated in some parts of the country and in London. I mean, a young child being questioned for talking about eco-terrorism, I mean, that is a bit ridiculous, isn't it?
Yes, it seems that somebody has got completely the wrong end of the stick. But I think there is an issue, and we've seen it, sadly, recently. A young man in, I think it was Blackburn, who got sentenced for being involved in a terrorist plot in Australia. And the fact is, we do have radicalisation of young people, men and women, boys and girls. And that's an issue for the whole community. I think we have to be very careful here that we don't say it's the Muslim community that has to deal with the problems of grooming of young people and radicalisation and going to Syria or whatever. It's a responsibility for all of us, and that is about British values. And one of those British values is equality of men and women. It's also opposition to homophobia and anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and all the other values.
Do you think the Muslim Council of Britain falls short of those?
Well, I have had over the years a kind of mixed relationship with some of the groups in the Muslim Council of Britain, I have to say, and it's an umbrella organisation, and overall I think they should be engaged with, but there are clearly, in any umbrella organisation, you've got people who are more radical and more moderate.
Right. Is prevent counterproductive in your mind?
I think it is. What we have to realise is that when you have a strategy that tries to counter extremism without defining it properly, which results in a conflation of extremism and terrorism, we're in a problem. We have young children, as mentioned in the report, but throughout the country, young children who campaign for prayer rooms suddenly being told that they are potential terrorists and radicalized. Young people who are asking questions in physics classes, which happen to be about nuclear fission, who suddenly get asked to be taken to these courses. This is very dangerous. Even 3-year-old toddlers are going down this route. Now, these are not single individual cases. There are more and more of these that are taking place across the country. And what does that lead to? That leads to communities finding themselves as separate, as being looked at differently from everyone else. We want equality. I would have thought that would be something that everybody would be able to adhere to and support.
Would you describe your leader, the Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn, as a mainstream politician or someone on the extreme?
Everybody who is a leader of a mainstream political party in this country is a mainstream politician. But there are, of course, views within political parties, and my position is well known. I don't agree with Jeremy on everything, but nevertheless, I wouldn't say he's an extremist. Absolutely not.
Thank you very much.